Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram RPG podcast. This is Wings of Kani, episode 17, Ambassador.
Feeling it too hard is the poison to the heart of a cynic.
Zeta stands aboard the bridge of the Oracle. They had been searching for the fleet for so long, and even now, this was only one piece of it. One which was wounded and left behind. And even still, when he places his hand on the control console, he can feel the latent energy of the ship, feel its ebb and flow as it communicates across its vast networks. He withdrew his hand and it was quiet again. As he looks out the main observation window, a memory floats to the surface. The aspect stands before him.
The pirate fleet has been scrambled. We do not have the firepower or defenses for a sustained resistance. If you disembark now, we may not be able to save you.
Understood. In the event of your retreat, it is likely I can remain undetected. The repeater must be activated in order for the wandering star to follow.
Your commitment is admirable, but we have already lost so many of you.
And if they cannot find us, we will lose one more.
Go then. Quickly now. May the three guide you.
Zeta's eyes flit back to the bridge behind him. This was not his memory. It was Dio's.
For millennia, the Takani lived in peace, in communion with their homeworld of Kani. The galactic civil war forced the Takani to leave their home. Together with the Kida and the 11 synthetic Venko, the denizens of Kani and their fleet gather unlikely allies in their search for a new home.
We see a calm lake. It's night on Naboo. The lights of Theed in the distance, the blue orbs of the Gungans. We see the wandering star breach the surface of the lake. Shortly after, smaller craft towing a container, glowing blue orbs on each corner, rises to the surface and bounces until it settles. All is quiet. The Gungan vessel tows its cargo to the Oracle, the Imperial light cruiser, beached now on the shores of the lake. Rej, Zeta, and Caldo are in the loading bay as a Gungan water vessel pulls up. Its cargo is attached by a tow cable and pulled into the hangar bay. San steps out onto the gangplank.
I wanted to talk to the three of you before we speak with the Gungans. What we discovered down there could put the fleet at risk. I'm sure it was the actions of one or two rogue agents, but it will reflect poorly on all of us. The truth of what is happening to Naboo can die with General Popo. If the Gungans find out that we poisoned them, our protection will end.
Rej takes a heavy drag of his death stick, blows out the smoke, and says, "You're right, son. As terrible as it is, it's the same with the information we have about what's happening in our fleet. We can't let them know."
Zeta is standing there sort of impassively listening to this, and he says, "This misrepresentation of facts may have unintended consequences."
What do you mean?
if we hide the facts as to how this planet is dying, it may have further range implications.
I look over at the Oracle ship and I say, how long do you think it's going to take to repair it?
Zeta turns, like, he doesn't turn his body, he just turns his head and looks at it. He makes a calculated guess. He says, based on the supplies we have, 2 months.
2 months. 2 months with the Gungans no longer as our allies, perhaps even as our enemies.
They can know when we're gone. But for now, what they don't know won't hurt them.
Those terms are acceptable.
Very well. Now, do we confront the aspect and see if he's responsible for this?
Why would you think that?
Is there a high probability he will tell the truth?
The aspect is already hiding things from us. The Oracle is dead.
What?
Welcome back to the Nasty Graham RPG podcast. My name is Devin. Who you calling scruffy looking?
Hey everyone, Dan here, playing Zeta the Venko Slicer and Merman.
Hey folks, it's John. I'm playing Rish Kantari, who really likes just making bombs and carrying them around, and S3RV0, who is fearing for his life.
And this is Jake playing San Tavar, the guy with one lightsaber,
the good
who
guy.
is now in deep doo-doo.
The next morning, we find the Gungans hard at work reinstalling their goo orbs into their various ships, technology, things like that. We see the crew of the Wandering Star standing on the shore of the lake, accompanied by Boss Leone, a couple of other Gungans, honor guards, as they stand vigil over the lost General Gallo.
Boss Leone is the head of the current Gungan.
She is. She is an old Gungan who is currently the boss. She's the leader. And it is only with her sponsorship that you were able to gain access to the city. However, a royal land transport arrives, weaves through the jungle, and touches down on the landing pad on the shores of the lake. Out steps a tall man in military uniform. I mentioned his hat is perfectly creased, as well as Akita, well-dressed, Viceroy Dosh. The two exit the ramp, and they stand. They wait.
Can I ask out of game, do we know that Viceroy Dosh betrayed the, was it?
I don't know if Rish probably has held that pretty tight, especially since you're a counselor. He probably has not told you that.
Okay.
Especially as
You just think he is very, Rish is very, doesn't trust him.
Okay. Well, it appears we've been noticed. It's about time.
I'm guessing that is our ride to the capital. Viceroy. Rish raises his hand.
Mr. Kantari,
Seems you've been busy.
if you would come with us, we'd be glad to take you into the city. Provide a thorough debrief, if you would.
Rish looks back and forth at his companions.
San just nods.
Zeta stands there impassively.
Zeta, you hold in your hand a data pad, and it has all of the scans, the readings of atmospheric conditions on Dudori 6, on Kani, and ones taken recently from Naboo. And you all enter the ship.
As we're doing that, I would like to subtly send all of that information to the Wandering Star.
Okay. Give me a suave.
Is
Sure.
Caldo staying with the Wandering Star?
I'm going to stay with the Wandering Star.
All right.
I'm going to help them unload the cargo.
I think I rolled an 8.
What did you actually roll?
I rolled a 9, but I think I have a -1 suave.
Okay.
What, did you show up without a character sheet?
No, I have my character sheet, but I resisted when Devin tried to tell me what to do. Now I don't know where it is. Yes, I have a -1 suave. So 8.
Okay. You send it.
And then he boards the ship.
Okay. As you're walking back, the escort, the military man, you hear something come over a radio. Sounds like code. He confirms it and is the last to board the ship. That loading bay goes up, and you walk in, and it's this very finely appointed transport vessel. It's built for comfort. And Viceroy Dosh walks in, and he motions to the chairs. Says, "Please sit. We'll get started once we get into the city." And he heads towards the front.
That was the Dosh or the captain?
It's Dosh.
Dosh.
The captain simply walks past all of you, follows Dosh.
Out of game, was there another reason we wanted to get into the city? I'm trying to remember.
You wanted to get in contact with someone in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that for whatever reason, it's difficult to get into the city, though. Typically.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Reege looks around at this luxury speeder. Says, "Seems not everything is desolate in this planet."
Yes, it's possible that the Gungans exaggerated the state of the human cities. But it's good to see that the Viceroy has gained the good grace of our Queen.
He knows how to say the right things, that's for sure.
That is why he's the Viceroy.
What becomes immediately apparent as you're entering the city is there are a lot of military transports, military individuals. There's even crews that are out in the woods between the lake and the city, and it looks like they're they're cutting down trees for timber, pulling out rocks and things like that.
Looks like they're under siege or something.
You enter the city and the transport stops, lowers, in that loading bay opens up. Viceroy Dosh comes out of the cockpit, walks through, motions to the loading door. "Please."
We file out.
Yep.
Waiting outside for you, you see about a dozen military individuals. They all have blaster rifles.
And there's soldiers?
Soldiers.
Okay.
Yep.
Quite the welcoming.
The military man, the captain, walks out. They all give a salute. He salutes back and walks. And as you pass through this tunnel of these individuals, these military soldiers, you begin walking. Viceroy Dosh is leading you, and the rest of the soldiers follow behind you, led by the captain. They seem to be without a deep roll or an assess. They seem to be looking out.
It's quite possible that they're just the honor guard to the captain, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
But they seem to be, they'll establish a perimeter around you,
Sure.
and it's a military escort. But the Viceroy seems just to be walking.
Are we in danger, Captain?
No, of course not. He looks toward, sorry. You asked the captain, not the Viceroy.
Yep.
No, you're in no danger. But in these times, we see it appropriate to escort our diplomatic visitors. Pretend like we're not here.
Sure. This is quite a built-up present, say to San, for what's this outer rim?
Mid-rim.
Mid-rim?
Naboo, yeah.
For a planet so close to the core.
Dosh speaks. Naboo was once a heart of politics in the Old Republic. Though hard times have come on them, they're building back. I assume the city will be... I believe they will land on their feet in no time. Please. And he starts walking down the main drag. He's pointing things out to you at first. Just, this is it used to be the old Jedi temple in the Old Republic. Now it's fallen to some merchant companies that have taken hold there. And here, continues walking. The whole time that troop of soldiers are walking along the sides of this main drag. Someone give me an assess. As you look around at the state of the city.
San sort of falls behind a little bit when he points out the Jedi Temple, like just stops and looks at it for a minute, and then he kind of jogs to catch up.
13.
Okay. Give me 3 questions.
What do I notice despite an effort to conceal it?
I'll start with that one.
Yep.
High above, on the roofs, the roofs that remain, you see what look like spotters. You don't see any shooters, but you do see people up on the roofs. Many of the taller buildings of the city, especially this sort of central drag, are in disrepair or have collapsed. You see that they're cordoned off, and there's crews that are in there and moving rubble, moving things out.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Is the destruction by bombing from the raid or from natural disaster?
It looks like natural disasters.
Okay.
No, the damage outside, there's no blasts or things like that. It just looks like the foundations of this city have been shaken. Some fire damage.
What is a potential complication that I need to be wary of?
If there are shooters, you don't know where they are.
And who or what is in control here?
Definitely this Captain Koro, and his personnel.
If I'm not mistaken, Dosh, this feels like a military occupation. This feels like New Tauros.
The Queen declared martial law soon after these earthquakes struck the city. It has all been in lockdown ever since. Essential personnel are the only ones who move freely throughout these streets, thus the escort.
I wonder, Captain, how do you fight earthquakes?
He, without looking at you, he's just walking forward. We have technology under the city. The damage would have been worse, but we do have countermeasures. The earthquakes, though, these recent ones, they crippled much of our technology.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I fear you may have misunderstood my question. What I'm asking is, why isn't additional military presence needed for natural disasters?
Give me a suave.
7. Unless I'm doing, it's not really
Apply leverage.
apply leverage, right?
Theed is the capital of Naboo, with substantial amount of our infrastructure disabled. We need to ensure the safety of any sensitive information and technology in the city. And our military personnel are trained engineers, scientists. If anyone's able to clean up this mess, it's us.
Excellent.
Zeta, looking at the ruin as we're walking along, says, rebuilding in the face of ongoing natural disasters seems ill-advised. We abandon our planet. You should consider the same.
The captain continues to walk. He doesn't look at you. You think that's kind of... Human emotions are strange.
They are.
He contorts his face a bit, but tries not to.
Yep. Your face seems irregular. I don't say that.
Dosh speaks again. To the matter at hand. A debrief on your journeys, if you could. I understand the Venko Dio stayed behind on Order Ibana. I assume that you found them.
We did. But there are no more.
He slows down a bit, but nods his head, continues walking.
An unfortunate sacrifice.
They were assimilated in order for me to survive.
The Void Dancer is searching nearby systems for calamite as we speak. Naboo was not a plan to stop on our way.
Have you heard word of their success?
No. Communication is variable here with the damage to the infrastructure.
Viceroy, I'm actually glad that we have this opportunity to speak to you away from the Takani. I have a concern after speaking with the aspect.
Please, he stops. You're now in this courtyard.
It would seem that many of the Takani simply wandered off the ship when it landed here. Decided that this world would be good enough. Are you aware of that?
I am. The aspect informed me.
And what happens if they all decide to stay?
You see him, he sort of puts his head down, his fingers around his chin. You see his eyes just sort of flit to the side. I suppose it would be an effort to find them and make sure they make their way off planet when the Oracle leaves. He gives you a look.
Are you suggesting that we force them to come with us?
I understand the difficulty in such a task, but this is not our world. He looks at you again.
I nod. I say, this is not a hypothetical situation either. This is occurring now.
Were you able to find any suitable systems on your travels?
No.
I guess we should have discussed what we were going to tell them.
Yeah.
He points out, here. This is a royal manor, a bit in disrepair, but this is where they've been housing me. And you look up and it's this beautiful stone building, these Roman columns that surround it. But you see all the windows have been shuttered and secured. No light passes through. And you see now in this courtyard, the lights are all like non-permanent lights, like floodlights that you would set up, as it seems like some of the installed lights are dark. Even though it's daytime, you can tell that the infrastructure of this city was severely disabled, maybe even more than the captain suggested. I did have something for you, Zeta.
Yes.
In light of our loss, I thought it might be appropriate. And he takes something out and holds it in his hand. I'm going to flash back. If you guys remember, there was a little scene where Zeta, after an impact with Space Station Renewal, was rushing through the space station on his way to the Genesis chamber, where Decium, one of Zeta's siblings, was injured, wounded. We go back to that scene, and Decium steps out of the Genesis pod. That cover lifts up. Decium stands up and is whole. Only Zeta and Decium are in the room.
Are you fully functional?
Decium actuates their hands and arms and takes a couple of steps. I am.
I apologize for my delay. Had I been there sooner, you may not have needed quite so much time in the Genesis chamber.
I am confident that any damage, barring total destruction, can be repaired.
Nevertheless, calamite is a scarce resource. We must protect it.
Decium takes something on a table, picks it up. It's this crystalline, perfectly geometric clump of calamite. Holds it up and says, "These are necessary risks. If our species is to survive, we must be the ones to take the steps to ensure our survival."
Agreed. We must find a suitable location for the Takani.
We shall. Take this. Oh, no, sorry. Decium nods, and the camera fixates on that crystalline chunk of calamite. And now Dosh holds it in his hand and presents it to Zeta.
Zeta kind of plucks it out of his hand. Do you have other sources of this?
No, not yet. The Void Dancer is looking, but DCM gave this to me, told me you would understand. And again, his eyes flit towards the building.
Zeta examines it for a moment and then kind of tucks it away in one of his bandolier pockets. Thank you.
You've all been spending some time with the ship, with the Oracle. Do you have any updates on its readiness to fly?
I believe the repairs will take approximately 2 months.
He exhales.
There was catastrophic damage in the engine bay when we took on water. Had to beach it on the lake shore, so we even damaged some of the hull there. It's a lot of damage, requiring material that we don't have with funds that we can't buy.
His hands are by his side, and they're kind of like, he's like sort of moving them nervously. His eyes continue to just sort of look around. You see that those soldiers that were about a dozen when you walked in, it's maybe about 3 or 4. The others you don't see them.
We don't have that much time, do we?
He speaks quietly. No.
How long do we have?
He's just scanning with his eyes, trying to be cool. We should attempt to leave as soon as possible, even if the Oracle is not fit to fly.
What are the ramifications if we do not leave in a timely manner?
We would be overstaying our welcome, I presume.
He says that loudly.
Come, this way. There's more I'd like to show you. As he's walking, the captain is still there. And Dosh starts to lead you off of the main drag into some of these other gardens, there's other manors and things like that. But these areas aren't as well lit. They aren't as well patrolled. The roofs are uneven so that you can't see beyond, 2 or 3 buildings. You pass a crew. There's looks like a repulsor sled is moving some debris. It's all been stacked up on a flat. As he walks, the captain looks to them. They step out of the way. And as the group passes, the camera stays on that crew. One of the guys says, I'm going to stretch my legs. Be back in 10. He grabs a utility bag and walks the same way the group does. We see the man on the repulsor sled just stops and looks, has a quizzical look in his eye, and then straightens up. Andrew, what does this man look like?
This man is blue. He's blue-skinned. He's played by Paul Rudd.
Awesome.
His eyes are uncannily red, as in the pupils are well, I guess not the pupils, the iris is a red color and it glows slightly. If you're up to the current knowledge of Star Wars lore, you'd say he was from the Chiss. That is his race. But he is not dressed like anyone that you might associate with that race. He is wearing a rainbow-colored poncho, flamboyant to the extreme, and a big poofy hat that sort of covers in a wide brim. Pleasant expression on his face.
Seems like a regular guy.
Dude.
And he follows after the man with the utility bag.
Are you going to introduce?
Andrew, who are you? What are you doing and why are you here?
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew. I am on a podcast called This is the X-Files podcast, another X-Files. I'm on a podcast called This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast. And I'd say we're joined at the hip with our subject matters. And I'm delighted to be a guest on your lovely tabletop RPG podcast.
Who are you playing?
Who you playing?
Do you want my name at this point, or is it tipping my hand?
We can wait, I guess.
We can wait.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Obviously, I'm playing Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah.
Deep cover.
Grande Admiral with that punch.
These streets are quiet. They're dark, shadows cast by the buildings. You hear the sound of rubble continuing to fall within them. You're still followed by the captain and a few of his close bodyguards. San, I don't mean to do this, but you have this sense, and you make your way up right next to you make your way up lockstep with the Viceroy. He says quietly, the Kani are in danger.
We all are.
No, immediate danger. They're being sought. That's all I know.
If we need to evacuate from this planet, we can do it shortly. We have another ship, a new addition to the fleet, and it's en route.
Have you made good with the Gungans?
Yes.
Good. There are Imperials in the city. I don't know how many, but they are here. And he looks up, he says, this here. This was once a wine house. They stored barrels and barrels of the finest wine.
Rubble now.
Indeed. As are many beautiful things. He looks at Rij.
Indeed.
Please, if you would regale me more on your travels, I'm curious. We encountered some trouble on Ordi Bana. I hope you didn't find the same.
Order Bana. Feels like it was more than just a few days ago.
Trouble. Trouble indeed.
A pirate city now. Believe it's kept afloat by droids, almost exclusively.
Yes, it was rather interesting. A hive of scum and villainy. But we found what we needed and got out of there in one piece.
Why were you unable to secure mining rights in the asteroid field?
Oh, the pirates are fickle. They see a capital ship. They think they can take more than what we have. We had no choice. The Venko were starving.
That is correct.
Yes, it's difficult to negotiate when you don't really have any resources to spare. The fleet is in dire need of many things.
We zoom out. Again, this courtyard shrouded in shadow. We pull back through the streets that they walked. We see that man with that utility bag. He's walking, and he puts the utility bag down, steps into a bit of crashed out column of a building. He pulls a couple things out of the bag and starts attaching them. See, it's a blaster rifle, the suppressor, and a scope. He stashes the utility bag amongst other utility bags left by workers before. He makes his way through the dark street, turns out of sight. Andrew, what do we see this multicolored poncho man do as we pull back even further?
He's following the man with the utility bag. He's trying to keep eyes on the group that's some blocks ahead.
You can hear their soft conversation.
He's very casual in his walk. He doesn't try and hide. He even greets a few people as he walks down the street. Obviously, everybody's on a break. He's on his break. There's nothing wrong here. Nothing to see.
You make your way to where the camera last saw that man, and you see his utility bag is amidst some others, but you recognize it.
Do I see where he has gone? The man who carried that bag?
Give me an assess.
Ooh, dice. I love it.
It'll be plus canny.
Thank you. Got an 8.
You get one question from that list.
The list. What do I notice despite an effort to conceal it?
You look in that bag and you see amongst tools and a couple of rags, there are 2 thermal detonators. They're armed.
Like armed as in they're going to detonate?
Armed as in they can detonate at any time, presumably with a command or a remote detonation.
Okay. Continues to walk along the street after clocking it. And he leaves that bag alone.
I'm going to do a little flashback myself. Another one. Back to when the group got on the transport from the lake. We're in looks like a control tower. It's a high point in the city. We see some individuals sitting around like an air traffic control, 360 degrees. You hear one of these technicians say, "We got another one. Looks like atmospheric readings. Come look at this." Another guy comes over. Dory 6, Kani, Naboo. These are atmospheric readings. This particle here, look, they're looking for this. Someone better tell the captain. We see that Captain Koro. He gets that radio transmission. "Captain, we got a wildfire D6. Captain says, "Confirmed." Closes the radio and walks in the building. We now come back to that courtyard, that shadowed courtyard. See the man in the multicolored poncho is just standing out of sight, looking at the individuals that are having soft conversation. You see a couple more, looks like spotters on the roofs. 3 or 4 soldiers are setting a perimeter around the courtyard. San, you have a move. Your start of adventure move, Moth to the Flame,
Yes.
where you can use it to be in the point of danger when you need to be.
Yeah. I imagine that San, it's a sort of force thing for him. It's actually a bounty hunter move, but I think for him it's more of, the force, maybe little bit of precognition. But sometimes it goes wrong, like right now when I roll a 6.
Okay.
What does it mean when it goes wrong?
When it goes wrong, it means that Devin, it's the same result, except Devin controls it.
Right.
Well,
So I'm put in danger,
Yes.
but not really willingly.
I'm not gonna make you wait and torment you for the rest of the session, because the dangerous place to be is right here, right now.
Oh, good. I'm already there.
As you have this precognition, a gift from the Force, and you dash to right next to you dash in front of the Viceroy, and your lightsaber ignites as you sweep up, and from a high point, you see a red blaster bolt as you deflect it. The rest of the soldiers, 4 of them in the courtyard, as well as the captain, all draw their blasters and they yell, "Assassin!" What do you do?
God damn.
I twirl my lightsaber around in a circle, of course.
Assassin as in us or the guy on the roof? Or do we not know?
They're looking up
Okay.
to where the blaster came from.
Rij pulls his blaster pistol out of the holster and rolls to cover behind a piece of rubble and just takes suppressing fire at wherever he thinks that came from. Try to pinpoint where it's from, but Son, where'd that come from?
Couple of shots, and then you turn and look, and you see in cover behind one of these columns under an overhang, one of Koro's men, one of the captain's men, pulls up his blaster and aims it at you.
Are the rest of them taking that sort of action?
How would I know? Why are you asking me? What is Zeta doing?
Zeta, thinking tactically, pivots 180 and looks back the way they came to see if there are more shooters on the roof.
Give me an assess.
Sure. Snake eyes.
Okay.
Level up before I die.
You just stand up. That blaster fire is disorienting. It echoes in this courtyard, and you like stand up and almost lose your balance.
I think Zeta 2 probably doesn't approach. He approaches the whole thing tactically, but not combat.
Sure,
if that makes sense.
Yep. And you hear actually take a -1 ongoing.
Perfect.
Until it gets quieter.
Love this journey. Yep.
John, do you want to go?
Sure. Reej like wheels back, sees this guy lift his rifle at him, and he says, he puts his hands up, he goes with like his blaster pistol, drops his pistol on the ground, and he looks at S3. S3's kind of going back and forth. Says, S3 now, and S3 charges at this guy like his legs. Woo! And Reej pulls his big knife out of its sheath and rolls and runs at this guy with S3 has his little like zappers out going after this guy's legs.
That sounds pretty rugged to me.
Yep.
Take a +1 from S3.
Oh, that's a 7. Thank God.
I wanted to get it up before you announced it.
2 harm with my big knife.
Okay. You knock this guy to the ground, but he drops his blaster and gets a hold on you, and he's starting to wrestle you. It looks like he's reaching for a vibro blade himself.
Okay.
San has that one lightsaber out.
Yep.
After deflecting that, and he with his other hand, he kind of reaches out with his other hand, and he actually spins in a circle. And as he does so, all the dust and dirt off the ground starts to swirl into the air around the Viceroy.
Cool.
I'm going to stand in defense.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to say the move.
Don't.
I'm making a cloud of dust in an attempt to protect the shield the Viceroy from view.
Nailed it.
We'll cut that out. Cool. Roll. Do you want to roll use the force here or stand in defense, or do you have a move that lets you do the little combo thing?
Or defense it with deep. Stand in defense.
Yeah.
You want me to do that?
I like that. Roll stand in defense with deep.
8.
Okay. You get 1 hold?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, choose one. Sorry.
Yep.
So when you stand in defense of a person on a hit, suffer harm in their place, and then one of the holds. So I think the hold will be that I'll see him to safety.
Okay.
So I kind of make this cloud of dust, and then I point to some cover for him to go in, but I stay in the cloud.
Okay.
So to outsiders, they just see one form in that cloud of dust, thinking it's the Viceroy, but he's actually moved to safety.
Sure. What do your lightsaber, is that still ignited?
It is.
Okay. There are blaster bolts that come through this dust immediately. Take 1 vitality as you duck as well as you push the Viceroy into cover, eschewing it for yourself. Dust is kicked up, blaster fire. Andrew, see one man move from cover very quickly with a glinting knife and attacks another one. You hear scuffling on the ground. What do you do?
This Venko, I recognize it as a Venko, yes?
That's the one that Grand Admiral Thrawn told you to capture.
No. Listen,
Big
we're not on each other Christmas cards or anything. Oh, God.
We don't talk to Uncle Thrawn anymore.
Right.
You don't all know each other? Wow.
Do you know Brian?
You know Brian Thrawn?
Yeah.
No, you do. The Venko, this creature made of this black basalt, looks similar to the Kani, which are that alien race that arrived not so long ago on the planet.
Okay.
But rather than being made of, natural plant stuff, is made of, appears stone and crystalline.
Okay. Well, what I think I perceive from my location is that this creature is in no way versed in the ways of violence and is making a perfect target of themselves. Is anybody taking them up on that offer and like maybe targeting Zeta?
Yeah, you see a couple of individuals. They are tucked behind, it looks like another like repulsor sled, and they seem like they're going to stand up and fire.
Okay.
You see the loping creature is out in the open.
All right. First thing I do is I take this marvelous poncho that I'm wearing, I take it off and I flip it over, which turns it from a marvelous rainbow color to a suave black color. And I launch
Poncho of elven kind?
Yeah, basically. And
That's your bonus action.
I would like to stealthily charge across to get into an advantageous position against those two.
You're already there.
I'm already there.
They did not know you were eavesdropping on this conversation the whole time. This ruckus ensues, and you find yourself just outside of it.
Of course, I find myself there. All right. Well, then I would like to draw my a weapon out of this secreted bag I have, and I'd like to shoot them both in the back of the head.
And can you describe this weapon real quick? You sent me some of your gear. I want to hear what this looks like.
It is it's a silenced blaster pistol. So it's
sneaky.
Oh.
It's viciously black. It's got all sorts of fins on it and stealthy options, and it's like it's longer in the back, so it hangs over your wrist, and it's got this real stub nose kind of feel to it.
Cool.
It's basically written on the side. It says means business.
Nice.
Love it. Desert Eagle.
And you're gonna go in blazing. I think it's plus rugged unless you have a move that lets you use some other stealthy option.
I don't, but if I hit them, it'll be great because they're unsuspecting. I'm assuming, yeah.
They are. Take a +1.
Sweet. So it's good when I roll high, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
high is good.
Yeah, okay, that's 11 plus 1 is 12.
Okay.
He's like, oh, well, I rolled 2. So.
So you're going to get 3 options from the go in blazing move.
Inflict terrible harm, suffer little harm in return, create a weakness, take something away from them.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to suffer little harm in return. So I choose 2. So I'm going to suffer little harm in return, and I'm going to inflict terrible harm. Oh, it's 12 plus. Choose all 4. Oh, no, that's advanced.
That's only if you...
It's advanced. Oh, so you get 2. Okay. So you're going to inflict terrible harm.
Yes. And this was 2 harm close energy for the pistol. And since he's unsuspecting, I do an additional 2 harm.
Whoa.
Okay.
Ow.
So
There's like 5.
5?
You drop the first one, and then beyond him, you put a couple more shots, and they land in the column, and that soldier moves to cover, taking him out of line of sight of Zeta, of this Venko.
Well, there's an entrance.
Yeah, the camera zooms in for his little tagline.
Zeta says, we are currently under attack.
Reed holding, like fighting this guy in close. I know.
That's what a 2 gets you.
Yeah.
Reed's just going to try to bash the knife out of this guy's hand.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
You give me plus rugged.
Yep. 10.
Okay. I'm guessing take something from your opposition.
Yep.
Will be 1.
And suffer a little harm.
Okay. You knock this guy out.
Cool.
He falls to the ground.
San looks towards the blaster fire and the guy that goes down and the other one that goes behind cover. And then he reaches out with both hands and he pushes that cover that the guy's behind and tries to collapse it on top of him.
Sure.
I'm using the force to inflict harm.
Sure.
Good guy stuff.
Real good stuff.
Oh, I failed.
Oh, dear.
Darth San's coming.
I rolled a 3 plus 2.
Okay.
which is a 5.
Okay.
Which means I gain a dark side point.
Which means
and you hold 3.
And you hold 3. Great success.
That guy's dead.
Great
What
success.
that means is I took advanced deep, which I think just means you do extra damage when you do this. But I already do extra damage because I have untapped fury.
Okay.
So I think that's 5 armor piercing. So I
Gross.
bury him in something.
You crush him.
and I
to a pulp.
smile.
Yep.
You don't see that because I'm in a cloud of dust. But I think I smile when I do that.
Calls the lightning.
Through this screen of dust, this swirling screen of dust, we don't see San make these movements. We just, in the movie theater, the whole room, you get this, and then this repulsor sled just slides along the ground, is pushed along the ground. You hear a guy, and this crunch of metal on stone, and then just this creaking noise. Couple of rocks fall, and then a building almost 2 stories high. It was already sort of leaning, starts to crumble and lean very precariously as it begins to fall. Zeta, what are you doing?
Zeta.
He's dead, by the way, Jay.
So Zeta, turning from kind of the rear, now looks to the rest of the soldiers. Are they all guns pointed at us?
There's a lot of dust and yelling. Give me just a quick plus canny.
5, 6 plus 3 minus 1. 8.
That man with the perfectly creased hat is nowhere to be seen.
Zeta says, "The building will collapse imminently. I suggest we retreat." And he begins kind of backpedaling away from that side of the street where the building is starting to kind of creak and tip. And he's working his way along the far side of the alley. Now kind of just always his head kind of on a swivel, trying to, move through the street without much cover.
Okay. Give me an act under pressure.
Sure. 10. Act under pressure is cool.
Cool.
So I have a -1, -2. That's an 8.
Okay. You see a couple of figures moving up above on some of these other buildings, looking to move away from this collapsing structure, but you lose them once you enter the dust again.
Is that an orphanage?
For sure.
Oh, no, I was wrong. Sorry. Excuse me. I had a 12 -1, so 11. Cool. I didn't have a negative to cool.
Okay.
I had the -1 going forward, but much the same result, I think.
I'm going to give you something a little extra.
Sweet.
As you're moving, you find your hand is holding onto that pouch, and you trying to sort of gather your senses. Mm-hmm. Again, this dust in the air, the loud noises. You try to find some peace. You grab onto some totem, and that piece of calamite. You feel a connection the same way that you would feel a connection when you use your calm.
Sure.
And you feel calmed yourself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Breege gets up off this soldier, kicks the vibro knife into the dust, and picks up his rifle, slings it around his back, and then picks up Breege picks up his own pistol off the ground. Yeah, let's get out of here. He cuts into the alley undercover, trying to stay away from any kind of openings where snipers can take shots.
Just above you, as you dip out, you see a couple of shots, quiet shots, but those red bolts pass over your head and back straight behind you. You look to your left and right, you can see San and you can see Zeta, but you quickly just turn around and you see another individual like just taking cover from those 2 shots as you follow them.
Sorry, so that other individual is being shot at?
Yes.
Okay.
The one that where Andrew described that man would be. You all see it. Another from another high point through the dust. A couple of pot shots. Andrew, what does this man do?
So this man, being me, is getting shot at.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're behind cover. You have an idea of where the shots came from. You see the Kita, the tall individual that just tackled the man, is looks like to be making away with his astromech droid. The other two, the Venko and the man with the lightsaber, are still sort of in the fray in the middle of this courtyard.
Man, who even
you know
uses
that there are
who even uses
who
a
uses those
lightsaber
anymore?
anymore? My God.
You know that there are two more of those security individuals that were originally here with the captain.
Okay. What condition is that repulsor lift sled in? Is it still workable?
It is, but it is looks like it is near to be buried by this collapsing building.
Oh, so it's about to be, but it's not yet.
It is not yet.
Okay. I am wondering how feasible it would be for me to pop a smoke grenade and use that cover to jump into the repulsor lift and make it a retreatable vehicle.
Give me mark off a smoke grenade from your gear.
Done.
And then give me an act under pressure using and take a +1 from using that piece of equipment.
Cool. And that's plus cool?
Smoke. That is cool.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Cool. I'm with it.
Cool.
I I rolled an 11, so +1 and plus another 2 for my cool. I think that's 14.
That's a lot.
Real casual 14.
Just a real casual 14.
We make fun of the main cast when they roll 14.
I'm ready.
This grenade goes off. It puts smoke between you and the other combatants, even where those shots just came at you from.
We got another Josh guest star over here. 15,
Yeah.
16. I got the advanced move. I killed them all.
And I gave him a squad too. I was like, "Here, I'm going to give you this move, to
The
represent
Star
your thing."
Wars equivalent of
Yeah.
the D&D Archer. It was a 98 hit.
Yeah,
He was straight up the fucking paladin in the D&D movie.
Right. Love you, buddy.
thanks, Josh.
So now that I've
you hop on this repulsor sled.
cool, I want to drive it over to this hapless trio that clearly doesn't realize they're about to get slaughtered, and I want to try and pick them up and get them out of here.
Sure. The repulsor sled just wades into the swirling dust.
Reed wheels around his blaster rifle at this repulsor lift and starts to. He takes a couple warning shots at it,
And the man holds up his hand and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I think you're needing a lift, eh?"
They were shooting at him too. Quick, let's get out of here.
All right.
Where is the Viceroy?
I grabbed the Viceroy and help him into this repulsor lift.
The Viceroy comes with you like a child.
Zeta clambers on to the side of this skiff.
Reach kind of then wheels back around where he saw that that shooter, and just as we leave, he's going to try to suppress, kill him, whatever. Just try to make sure he doesn't get a clean shot at us.
It sounds like everyone jumps in, and now we're doing this little teamwork thing. So, Rij, give me a rugged. You're going to try and suppress this individual. Andrew's character, I would like give me an act under pressure to wrangle these kittens and get them on the sled so you can get out of here.
Could I nominate Stand in Defense?
Nominate it best move in Star Wars World Rebel Ops. Well done.
I would like to
in
stand
defense. Yeah.
in front of the Viceroy.
Okay, protect the Viceroy. Yeah, roll me a stand in defense.
I think he's kind of very matter of factual about pain as well. Just damage versus pain.
Yep. You know that other creatures feel pain in different ways.
Yep.
Okay. Son, are you doing anything once the Viceroy is secured? Zeta seems to help you bring him up and get him to safety.
I think San doesn't really telegraph this, but I think he is going to help that building to collapse.
Okay.
The orphanage.
So that, that's going to, the orphanage. Because it's coming down anyway.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause a lot of debris and smoke and dust.
Sure.
How many younglings are in there?
So many.
All of them.
So, I mean,
And the women.
The goal is really to help us escape.
Okay, cool. Give me a use the force.
As we're riding down on this repulsor lift, he just sticks his lightsaber out and starts cutting through all the buildings on the way through.
I rolled a 12.
Okay. Rij, what'd you get on that?
An 8.
Rugged. Okay.
I rolled a 10 net 8.
Okay. And
I rolled a 7 on my act under pressure.
okay. So we got mixed successes from Andrew and from Rij and Zeta. That building starts to come down, and it happens very quickly, especially when this sled is pulled out. It seemed like it was holding up a wall on the bottom floor. Rij, you exchange a couple of rounds. One of them even strikes the repulsor sled and sparks fly off. You got to cover Zeta. You cover the Viceroy's head. You're all pretty exposed right now. And as you're making your way out of this courtyard, just you almost slap yourself in the head, Andrew's character, as you hear that.
Oh no, I remember that.
And an explosion. More rubble is just thrown out in front of you, making it impossible for this sled to pass. But you were careful enough that that the sled itself and its passengers were not struck by the explosion. And now you find blaster fire is still making its way through the dust that's kicked up from your sled. You find yourself locked in this little alcove that's been cut out for you. And we'll find out what happens next time.
God damn.
Next time we'll learn Andrew's character's name.
Yeah, in the intro, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wings of Kani. Intro and outro music by Galactic Empire. Check them out at Galactic Empire Official on social media. Our Nasty Graham theme music by A Wilhelm Scream. Dramatic voiceover by Liv. Check her out at Musings of a Polyhedron on Substack. Check us out on nastygrahampod.com. You can get full bios of all the cast. You can get all the links to our social media, links to the feed with all of our back content. So head on over, check out the Nastygram Lounge on Facebook, and chat with us, and tell us your favorite force powers.
That's nasty.
Please sit. We'll get started once we get into the city. Sorry. I've been drinking.